Keep on rocking in the
free world. Keep on rocking in the free world.
Hey everyone! It's a nice fall evening. Actually, it's technically winter, I guess, but everything's green. Lots of colorful leaves on the ground. It's pretty nice out. It was sunny. Now it's a bit cloudy. I had a Van Dweller friend in Texas who bought a BT Cruiser after watching my channel, and she posted today that she's going to an RV park in Texas tonight because it's going below freezing where she is. And it just makes me shake my head again at the questions I get from people south of the border trying to ask me about cold weather. Well, you should be asking her in Texas about cold weather because it's nowhere near below freezing in Vancouver. And that's just geography once again for you. Anyways, on another note, what I wanted to talk about was a question that I get asked by viewers who want to get into this lifestyle, and also from media. I just had yet another interview with another newspaper reporter who came last night to meet me down by the waterfront in North Vancouver and did a whole bunch of photos and an interview with me. And she was basically asking me all the standard questions I've gotten from the media before, plus some new ones. But one of the most common questions that media asks me, and newbies, is what made you decide to do this and choose this as a lifestyle? And honestly, I'm going to say it. I mean, it had nothing to do with the fact that Vancouver's now the most expensive real estate in North America and the most expensive housing market, because I was doing this way before that was even a headline. I chose this because I like the sense of ownership. I like the freedom to do what I want to do with my home. And that's something you can't get if you rent. And even if you buy, even after the 20 years of paying your mortgage and you own it, you still don't own it. The city owns it. The tax man will be after you every year, and you have to follow multiple rules and regulations on what you are allowed to do on your own property. Give you an example. A friend of mine in Port Coquitlam, a suburb of Vancouver, has, he's got a nice house with a yard, and he wanted to build a workshop in his backyard, a place where he can do his welding. So he built a really nice shed, and he wanted to put in electrical for his welder, and then put a little wood stove in there for heat. Oh my God, over a year or year and a half of bullshit with city inspectors and the regulators and the bylaw officers coming to check everything, and then he always had to revise something because they didn't let him do what he wanted to do. And I'm just like, wow, man, you spend over $1 million on this little tiny piece of land in a house, and you're not even allowed to do what you want to do in the backyard without Big Brother's permission, and tons of fees, and having to change all your plans originally. Like even if you want to build a fence around your house in most cities, it can only be a certain type and it can only be a certain height. You know, this sort of mentality, like, I understand the justifications for these types of rules and zoning, but then again, you got a city like Houston, Texas, which has very little zoning, and it seems to work just fine down there. But anyways, I can't imagine paying for the privilege of having to follow all these rules and regulations. If I want to paint my house purple, which I did, I can. You just want to go paint your house in some neighborhoods in Vancouver a certain color, you couldn't do it. There's all sorts of neighborhood things to take into consideration. Your neighbors will start complaining. The city will hit you with some sort of law or some bylaw against it. You know, everything's got to fit in properly. Even the architecture of new buildings has to match the surrounding, architecture. You know, there's all sorts of rules. And it's like, I couldn't put a hole in the roof and put a wood stove in. Are you kidding? I couldn't just go and wire in lights wherever I wanted. I'd probably have to get city approval for that and get an electrician to come in and do it for me. All right, you could say it's all about safety till until the cows come home. I really don't. I really think that if you want to do something with your own place and your own property, that's your business. If you kill yourself, that's your business. It's just getting out of control how everything is overregulated because of what ifs and possibilities. Well, there's no way to live. You buy a house, it's your house. The yard is your yard. You want to cut down the tree in your yard, go for it. You want to build a fence, go for it. You want to put a shed in the back, go for it. But oh no, this is the real world. You can't do any of that. And you know, growing up as a kid, I loved my tree houses and my forts because I felt that they were mine. And even growing up, even like high school years, living at home, my bedroom was my you know, my man cave. And all my friends would come over, hang out there. We had a beer fridge in there, and if the washroom wasn't outside of my bedroom, I'd never have to leave my bedroom. So why not just combine them? And basically that's what an RV is. It's your room with everything you need inside that one room. And I feel most comfortable in that situation. A lot of van dwellers and RV dwellers, they do house sitting for people and cat sitting and things like that. And usually the owners of these homes always try to offer. They're always like, hey, why don't you stay in the bedroom, or why don't you stay on the couch, or feel free to use my kitchen, the bathroom, whatever. I mean, I think a lot of them feel bad for you because you live in your van. They don't understand that you're doing it because you actually like it. So I've done that before, and I politely decline the offers. I'll use their kitchen, I'll use their washrooms to save my water while I'm there. Why not? But as far as going to sleep at night, no thanks. I'd rather go out to the driveway and stay in my van. Every time, I'd rather do that. And I hear this from other people all the time in their vans and RVs too. And this reporter that came to talk to me last night has a camper van herself. She doesn't live in it full time, but she did some road trips with it for a few months, and she's considering doing van life full time. And she said the same thing. She said, you know what, Justin, even though I'm renting a place now, I still feel more comfortable sleeping in my van. And I'm like, yep, that's the same feeling I've got too. Go ahead, I'll house sit for you. I don't care how nice your house is. I'll still feel more comfortable sleeping in my van. And a girl I was dating last winter for quite a few months, I was staying at her house quite often. And sometimes I'd wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom or whatever, and I'd actually go out to my van and go back to sleep. First couple of times she freaked out, wake up in the morning, say, where are you? She thought I just left her. But I was just outside in my van, just because it just feels more comfortable for me. I sleep better, I wake up better. And it doesn't matter which van I've had, it's just any van, because it's mine. And I feel that ownership, and I don't need any city's permission. I don't need the landlord's permission to do what I want to do. And I don't need the permission of a strata, a condo council, or a homeowners association. My God, they're the worst. Like, when I see what these homeowners associations and strata councils do, it makes me wonder, wait a minute, are the people living in these buildings getting paid to live there? Because that's the only way I would live under those rules, is you'd have to pay me. And I'd still have a camper van and sneak out to it and sleep in that at night. So I'm sure a lot of you out there agree with me on this. It seems to be a pretty common trait for people living in their RVs that they just feel better living in their RVs. They just feel more comfortable. It's your little man cave or your woman cave. I mean, there's no reason to live under all these draconian rules and regulations if you don't want to. I know there's going to be a lot of apologists out there. Well, they have to have a rule like that because of this, or they have to have rules like this because of that. Well, you know what? I've never been a person to agree with the whole, well, we better restrict everything because somebody might get hurt. It's like, well, just ban everything and live in your basement the rest of your life. Just ban everything, because it's like, let's ban cars because they kill people. Let's take everyone's firearms away because one bad person does something. Like, it's just, I hate that mentality. It's just picking away at our freedoms. And to me, your home should be your ultimate private property. Private property rights are very important. You should be able to own things, and they're yours. No ifs, ands, or buts. And you would think in this day and age that your home would be your most prized, most important possession. But in reality, at least in big cities, your home is the most regulated of all your personal possessions, and you're told what you can and cannot do with your home. Like, sure, you can't run a crack house out of your home, or you can't turn your house into an industrial business or something like that. Okay, I understand. There's got to be some lines there. But, well, now if I build a fence a foot taller than my neighbors, now I'm going to have bylaw officers fining me and ticketing me and threatening to take me to court. Things like that. It's just ridiculous. And you can't park an RV on your own property if it's over a certain number of feet. Almost every city has that restriction. And if somebody wants to sleep in your RV on your property, that's illegal too in most cities. So it's just a bit much. I can't understand. So that's why I feel like in my van, I can do whatever the hell I want, and the worst that's gonna happen is I'll get a knock on my door and somebody will say, hey, you can't park here, you gotta move on. Big deal. There. Sorry, my battery died. This is my home. This is where I feel the most comfortable. If you were to give me, and this is the honest to God truth, and I've been asked this before too by the media, if you were to give me a home, like a stationary home, just give me the keys to a house or an apartment and say, it's all yours, Justin, what would you do? My answer is simple. I'd either sell it or rent it out, and I'd live in a van. And that's the honest to God truth. Now, how many of you are with me on this? I want to hear from all the other people in their vans and RVs. Do you agree?
Keep on rocking in the free world.